You're going to have to take imperfect action, make imperfect progress, because if you always tell yourself that the second you fall off, the second you mess up, that, you know what, I'm just gonna trash it, then you're never gonna be successful at going after anything you want in life. What's up, pals, and welcome back to another episode of The Passion Project, the podcast for multi-passionate creatives and those who want to live a more fulfilling life, where every week you'll hear inspiring stories from passionate people and tangible advice to help you build the confidence you need to step out of your comfort zone and into your passions. It is officially the last week of January, which means it's only right if we talk about New Year's resolutions. Because the new year, it's 2023, and I'm sure that's top of mind for a lot of people. And if it's not something you want to dive into, we're going to talk about it today. But we're not just going to talk about New Year's resolutions. We're going to talk about if you have one, should you have one, how you can make one, and why personally I have a love-hate relationship with them. There's a large part of New Year's resolutions that I'm actually against. So we're going to talk about this today. And on top of that, how you can stick to one. If you made one or you make one after this podcast today, how can you actually stick to it so that you're not letting yourself down and you're feeling like you were successful at making a resolution? So I want to start off with telling you a little story. My dad was actually the first person I heard say the whole, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. And I think there's a bit of a movement with that. There's people who believe in them and there's people who don't. And so my dad would always say, I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. For a while, I didn't understand why. The way he explained it made sense, but I didn't fully grasp the concept. Why don't you believe in them? That doesn't make sense. It just didn't really click for me. While I was in school and growing up, I was always either in dance or sports, doing after school activities, extracurriculars. So there was always kind of a system I had. I never felt a need to set a New Year's resolution. And on top of that, I was usually in basketball season when the new year happens. So it wasn't like there was a big major change for me. I was just kind of going based off the structure of schooling, the schooling system and being in sports. So I never felt a need to have a New Year's resolution until about 2020, 2021, around those years after I graduated college and when I was starting my business and pursuing a career as a content creator. I started to feel this need to set resolutions because I wanted to level up, take myself to the next level, and kind of overcome some of my weaknesses and build on them. And I kind of started asking myself, is it possible to set one? Is it realistic? Is it even worth it? A year is a long time to say one thing, especially to someone who's multi-passionate, to say this is what I'm going to do for the entire year. And so what I kind of realized worked for me was instead of setting a New Year's resolution, I kind of set more of a New Year's intention. What fear did I want to overcome? Or what's my word for the year? I remember one year my year was bold, and one year I wanted to overcome my fear of being alone and living alone, both of which I did for an entire year. So yes, I proved to myself and in general, I've proved that it's possible. And so since that time, I have been setting a New Year's intention, resolution, whatever you want to call it. I've been setting one every year. And today we're going to talk about all of the things that I have learned, the pros, the cons, and how you can stick to that intention or resolution. So first of all, setting one. If you don't have one yet, guess what? It's not too late, because that's where one of my issues with New Year's resolutions first comes in. It's that it perpetuates the idea that you have to do it at the new year. You have to do it as the new year turns. New year, new me. Now I'm going to set a New Year's resolution, but guess what? You can set one anytime, any day of the week, any week of the year, any month of the year. It doesn't have to be called a New Year's resolution. It's an intention. It's a way that you want to grow and build yourself, or something you want to overcome, or a way you want to improve your life. You really just have to start. That's the bottom line. It doesn't have to be in a new year. So I think that can get stuck in people's heads. If I didn't start at the new year, well, okay, I'm just going to wait till next year. No. That is what holds people back. You gotta, if you have something that you want to do, something you want to work on, start today. Don't wait for any deadline or time of year. Do it right now, because that's what is What really matters is starting. So now you know you want one, but what could your resolution be? I've had a lot of you ask, both through the newsletter and through podcast episode recommendations. I've had a lot of you ask, what could my New Year's resolution be? Some of you know what you want, you have one set, or you have lots of ideas, but others don't. So where can you start? Start by asking yourself what you need in your life. Is there something you struggle with? Maybe you have social anxiety and you want to get better at being in a room filled with people. That could be something. Maybe you want to work out more. Maybe you want to eat healthier, sleep more, meditate, whatever it is. Just think about a gap in your life. Where is a gap that you want to improve? Set a goal or something to do every day that you are going to use to overcome that weakness or that thing that you want to improve on. So mine for this year is to be kinder to myself, and from a content creator's perspective, not focus so much on going viral, but focus on content that's aligned with me and who I truly am and what I truly want to do and talk about. Something that I'm doing every day is keeping, that intention in check, meditating, journaling about it, and reminding myself every time that I get stressed and overwhelmed that it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. And really just identifying when I kind of have those negative thoughts that I'm bringing myself down, that negative voice that we can get in our head. That's the biggest thing I'm overcoming this year. So those are some of the things I'm doing. But again, just think about what it is that you're struggling with, that you want to overcome, and then think about something you can do daily, weekly, whatever it is, to help overcome that or improve upon it. Now, if you already had a New Year's resolution, this is where this comes in for you. And now that you can come up with one for yourself after identifying what it could be, the next most important thing is sticking to it. Step 1, you get started no matter what time of the year. Step 2, you stick to it no matter what time of the year. One thing for me that always helps with accountability is telling someone else, like getting it out of my brain, like my own brain, and putting it into the world. So a lot of times I'll tell someone else, email me your New Year's resolution if you need accountability. I check all of the emails. So email me halleespassionproject@gmail.com or join our Patreon. I have an accountability section set up on our Discord where we can all hold each other accountable to our New Year's resolutions, to our goals. And if not that, tell a friend, tell a family member, put it up on your wall. Make some sort of system that works for you to keep yourself accountable. So like I said before, the second biggest hurdle is sticking to your resolution. It's very easy to get perfectionistic about it, and if you mess up for a day, 5 days, 10 days, 30 days, to think, oh, you know what? Screw it. I messed up for that long. Might as well wait till next year. That's what's gonna hold you back. Like I said, you can start any day. You can pick back up with your resolution any day. You're going to have to take imperfect action, make imperfect progress, because if you always tell yourself that the second you fall off, the second you mess up, that, you know what, I'm just gonna trash it, then you're never gonna be successful at going after anything you want in life. So you have to get okay with taking messy action. Things always look more pretty on the outside, tie a bow on it. I even notice it with my content. People are like, wow, you make it look so effortless. But to me, I'm like, no. So much went into that. I felt like, I personally thought that wasn't that good, or I personally thought that was a failure because it was so difficult for me to get the product out there. But what you don't realize is everybody feels like they're making this messy, imperfect progress, when in reality, to other people, it might seem more, pretty put together. So don't be afraid to have imperfect progress, because sticking to it, that is the key. Not being perfect, sticking to it. So just to emphasize that again, start now, keep going. And then at the end of the year or the end of whatever cycle, you don't have, again, like I said, you don't have to start at the beginning of the year. Look back at your beautifully imperfect progress and see how far you have come despite those slips, despite the times you messed up, and despite the times you feel like you weren't sticking to it. Because if you keep showing up, then you did stick to it. So now to further talk about my love-hate relationship with New Year's resolutions, you basically get the gist of why I have an issue with them and why I think in a lot of circumstances they can hold people back. On the positive side of things, I love them because I love the idea of setting an intention, setting a goal, setting an objective, because it promotes growth. And I'm all about that. I'm all about the growth, the self-improvement. However, why I don't like New Year's resolutions, and I think that they can hold people back from making progress, is that they really build this hype, which is great, because whenever you start something new, it's going to be fun, you're going to be motivated, you're going to be excited about it. But that's the easy part. The beginning, 9 times out of 10, is the easy part. But the hard part comes when you don't feel like it. You don't want to do it. You slipped up. You feel like you're failing at whatever that New Year's resolution or new goal is. That's when it gets hard. And that's when you have to lean on that accountability system and remind yourself that you can pick back up, you can push through. Just because today you don't feel like doing it doesn't mean you shouldn't. You gotta push through, you gotta do it. The time that makes the biggest difference is when the excitement wears off. Will you continue to show up when that excitement is gone? And when nobody's talking about New Year's resolutions anymore. Everyone talks about them for January and then poof, you don't hear about it until the next year. That's when the excitement's gone. So identify when that time is and lean on that accountability system and remind yourself that the most important part is you continue to show up. So action steps. Number 1, of course, set that goal or resolution. I'm not even gonna tack on the New Year's. Set the goal, set the intention, set the resolution. I don't care what day it is. I don't care what time of the year it is. I don't care what month it is. Start that thing you wanted to start. Number 2, set that accountability system, because you are going to need to lean on it on the days that it gets hard and when the excitement behind starting wears off. Number 3, have periodic check-ins throughout the year. If you started on New Year's, maybe check in 1 month into the year, check in once a month, and ask yourself, are you sticking to your resolution? Are you sticking to your goal? Are you sticking to your intention? If not, what can you do to improve? So I would say at least once a quarter, if not every month. Check in with yourself, because that's going to keep you on track and help you to realize, am I doing what I said I was going to do? And how can I do it better? And last but not least, don't quit because you slipped. It's okay to slip, but don't fall all the way down and not get back up. Get back up. Slip a few times, but keep on going. So that's all for the episode today, pals. Submit an episode request. I've done one of your guys' requests so far, and I'm excited to do more. We're starting to get more rolling in. So if you go into the show notes, you can submit a request for an episode. Second, send this to somebody you think it could help. If you know somebody who's set a New Year's resolution or who hasn't, who's been struggling with their New Year's resolution, send this episode to them to help them out. And if you're enjoying this podcast, give it a review. It really helps with boosting it in the algorithm and getting it out to other people. So I appreciate your guys' support. And of course, my email is always open to you guys. I love hearing from you. Write me at halleespassionproject@gmail.com. That's halleespassionproject@gmail.com. Emails are open and I love hearing from you guys. And with that, I will see you in the next episode. Peace out, pals.